All praise is due to Allah, the most merciful, the most wise. We begin with His name, seeking His guidance and asking for His mercy and blessings upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad, his family, his companions, and all those who follow him until the last day. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, and to all those searching for truth, welcome. Join me as we speak about a matter that continues to divide humanity: racism. A disease of the heart, a poison in societies, and a barrier to justice. But when we ask the question, does Islam and racism see eye to eye? The answer is simple and clear: absolutely not. Islam and racism cannot walk the same path. Islam is built on unity, equality and justice, while racism is built on arrogance, division and ignorance. They are opposites. When we open the Quran, we find that Allah speaks directly to all of humanity, not just one race or one tribe. He says, "O mankind, we created you from a male and a female, and made you into nations and tribes, so that you may know one another. Verily, the most honored of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous of you." Surah Al-Hujurat 49:13. This verse destroys every idea of racial superiority. Allah is telling us that our colors, languages and ethnicities are signs to recognize one another. Not to divide, not to hate, not to feel superior. In Islam, your tribe doesn't make you better. Your skin doesn't give you value. Your wealth or passport means nothing before Allah. What matters is your heart, your character and your actions. Our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was the living example of this teaching. In a society like 7th century Arabia, where tribalism was deep and racism was common, the Prophet came and shattered those walls. One of the most beautiful examples is the story of Bilal ibn Rabah, a black man from Ethiopia who was once a slave. After accepting Islam, he became one of the closest companions of the Prophet and the first man to call the Adhan, the call to prayer. Why Bilal? Why not one of the rich Qurayshi nobles? Because Islam sees the soul, not the skin. The Prophet once said about Bilal, "I heard the sound of your footsteps in paradise." That's the honor Islam gave to a former slave, not because of his race, but because of his faith and sincerity. But Islam didn't just preach equality, it corrected racism whenever it appeared. Once, Abu Dar, another companion, had a disagreement with Bilal and insulted him by calling him the son of a black woman. When the Prophet heard this, he was deeply disturbed. He told Abu Dar, "You are a man who still has some ignorance in you." The Prophet didn't overlook it, he didn't excuse it, he called it out as ignorance, Jahiliyyah. Abu Dar felt so ashamed that he placed his face on the ground and told Bilal he would not lift it until Bilal forgave him. This is the power of Islam. It doesn't only correct the tongue, it purifies the heart. Now, if we look at other religious traditions, we notice some important differences. In Christianity, especially in its history in Europe and America, the issue of race was not always handled in a just way. For centuries, some Christians used the so-called curse of Ham from the Old Testament to claim that black people were cursed and meant to be slaves. This false belief was used to justify slavery, segregation and deep racism in Christian societies. Even churches were divided, black churches and white churches. Although many Christians today reject racism, the religion was manipulated to support it for a long time. In Judaism, there's a strong focus on being part of a chosen people, a chosen race, the children of Israel. While Jewish law allows people to convert, it's often seen as an ethnic and tribal identity. Some Jewish beliefs teach that Jews have a higher status in the eyes of God and others are outsiders. This can lead to exclusivity and a sense of spiritual superiority. Islam, on the other hand, came with a completely open door. Anyone from any race, land or background can be a Muslim, and once you become Muslim, you are fully part of the Ummah. No one can look down on you. No one can say you're less Muslim because of your skin or your language. In practice, Islam built a global brotherhood that no other religion had achieved. When Muslims pray, they stand shoulder to shoulder without ranks or class or race separating them. Whether you're African, Asian, Arab or European, when you say Allahu Akbar in Salah, you are equal before Allah. 5 times a day, Islam smashes racism at its root, not just by preaching, but by practice. And in his final sermon, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, left no room for confusion. He said, "O people, your Lord is one and your Father is one. An Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab, and a non-Arab has no superiority over an Arab. A white has no superiority over a black, and a black has no superiority over a white, except by righteousness." These words were spoken over 1400 years ago, long before modern civil rights movements, long before people even began talking about racial justice. Islam had already made its stand. This is why Malcolm X, when he performed Hajj, was deeply transformed. After seeing Muslims of all races eating, praying and living together, he said, "America needs to understand Islam because this is the religion that erases race from its society." His heart changed, his mind opened, and he saw with his own eyes what real brotherhood looks like. So no, Islam and racism cannot see eye to eye. Islam stands against racism in its teachings, its laws, its values and its examples. It not only says racism is wrong, it shows you how to overcome it. Islam doesn't just ask you to tolerate others, it asks you to love them, honor them, and stand beside them in worship, in justice and in humanity. In a world still suffering from the wounds of racism, Islam is not just a religion, it is the cure. May Allah guide us to see each other as He created us, as equals. May He remove arrogance from our hearts and fill them with love, humility and respect. And may He unite us under the banner of La ilaha illa Allah as one ummah, with no room for hate, no space for racism and no place for division. Ameen. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, drop a comment and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us share more Islamic knowledge with the world. May Allah reward you with goodness. Till next time, may the peace, mercy and blessings of Allah be with you.